Welcome back to the Whiskey and Wisdom Podcast, everybody. This is your co-host, Tyler Yaw, and today I am with...
Chris Kellum.
And our special guest today is...
Natalie, Singletary.
Thank you so much for coming on here today and opening up your speakeasy for us as well, too.
Excited to be on.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
When you said speakeasy, I was not expecting it to be a true speakeasy, like, hey, figure out where the place is, use a code, knock 3 times. I'm very excited about this spot. It's a nice joint.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. This bar is my baby. So my whole heart and soul have gone into it, so that means a lot. I appreciate it.
Yes. Before we go too crazy into the bar, well, not crazy, but, before we get too lit, you gave us some really nice whiskey and wine to try, because this is a wine bar with a little bit of good whiskey. Like a lot of good whiskey, but not as many bottles. So what are we drinking on?
So the whiskey we have here is Heaven Hill 18 year. And then the wine is a Brancaya. It's the winery. The wine is their Illustrata. It's their 2020 vintage. So I actually just got back from this vineyard. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this was one of my favorite ones I had in Italy.
Is it easier to bring back wine to sell here as opposed to whiskey?
Well, legally in North Carolina, you have to go through ABC for everything.
Right, true.
So this is just, the wine is just something I'm personally sharing with you guys.
Oh, awesome.
But I am bringing their wines in. So as of
sweet.
next week, I'll have their stuff on the menu.
Ooh, fancy.
It's
So what do you want to
fancy.
try first?
Let's go with the whiskey, stay on brand first, and then when we get into the wine, then we'll do that. Sorry. Live on YouTube. We can't be messing up.
Are we really live on YouTube?
I don't know. Maybe. We'll find
Maybe
out.
not. So you asked a second ago, we do typically do a live podcast and stream it all, but this is an on location and off regular business hours, so we're just
Nice.
Yeah.
chilling.
It makes it more fun, too, to kind of come to your neck of the woods and find out a little bit more about the actual bars that we talk about, too. So,
Right on.
and we couldn't say no to the aesthetic.
Nice.
So, cheers.
Awesome. Cheers.
Clink. That's good.
I'm not a bourbon girly or whiskey girly, and this is pretty nice. I've recently started what I'm calling my bourbon journey,
Oh, yeah.
so I'm trying to get more into it as of late. Yeah, this is nice.
Yeah, it's very,
It's a lot more smooth than I was expecting for a 120 proof.
Yeah.
Because 120 is,
Same.
for the non-bourbon people out there, is pretty hot,
Yeah.
typically. This is actually very easy to drink at 120, though.
yeah. I mean, it is an 18 year, so it's rested a little bit more.
Right.
There's definitely a lot more flavor, and it has a really nice scent to it.
Yeah, oaky, vanilla. I get a lot of like almond on it.
Yeah, definitely got a lot of vanilla on the nose.
Emily's behind the camera today, so I'm just making her try everything.
Yeah.
Still no to
Just
whiskey.
wait till we get to the wine, though. I bet you won't say
Say,
none of that.
Okay, so you said you're getting into your whiskey era.
Yes.
Um,
Trying to.
Yes. So
It takes some getting used to. I mean, even
It
when we
does.
started, we
Yeah.
didn't really know a lot about it. So we went through a lot of bottles to figure out what we were tasting, how to taste it, and kind of what made sense to us.
Yeah.
because you're in this current era, we're going to jump back, talk about where you came from,
Cool.
and then work our way up to how we ended up in a wine bar.
Sweet.
So tell us about yourself.
Let's do it. So I grew up in North Carolina. I grew up in the restaurant business. So I started bussing tables at like 7 or 8 years old. So waited tables all through high school and college. I started bartending as soon as I turned 21. And then after college, I got into finance. I really accidentally, I was in the car business. So I was in sales. We're good? So I was in sales, and then I worked my way up. I was a business development manager, and then a finance manager in a car dealership. And then I was a market manager for a finance company. That's the job that actually brought me to Wilmington.
Oh.
And I absolutely fucking hated it. The money was really good, but ultimately I was working 60 hours a week. And I was just dealing with a lot of douchey car salesmen, and I just hated the work. during COVID, I got really into wine, like a lot of people. So I started kind of educating myself on how to enjoy wine more. And then I just kind of found the place first and came up with the idea. I originally had a partner who I bought out a little over a year ago. Thank you. But yeah, so it started with just the one suite that you walk into with the 2 rooms. About 6 months after we opened, I expanded into this space that we're in now, which we call the Speakeasy Room. You can't see, so just FYI, it's behind a hidden bookshelf door. That's pretty cool.
We'll show clips of it.
Cool.
Right. I might let Tyler do that.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you for that extra editing work.
Yeah, people get a kick out of that. And then about 6 months after this expansion, I expanded into the next room, the Blue Velvet Room. And then after that, about 8 months later, I opened up the Retro Room, which is the one behind the sliding mirror hidden doorway. And that was about the same time I rolled out the cocktail program. So it was originally just a wine bar. Wines from all around the world, beer, local craft beer on tap always. And then, I rolled out the cocktail program in October of 2023. So coming up on a year for that, and coming up on our 3-year anniversary.
That's awesome. I don't think people truly appreciate the expansion. When you first said it, I was like, oh, okay, she just slowly kind of grew in, took a few other rooms. But can you elaborate a little bit more on how each room kind of became its own, and that each one of these were individual offices that leases expired and you had to buy into another lease essentially, right?
So I should also say that, it's Why Not Sky Bar and Cocktail Lounge. I don't even think that's the name of my bar.
I was waiting. I knew.
So Why Not is located at the top of the historic Murchison building downtown. So our views overlook downtown and the Cape Fear River and the Battleship. So it's really cool, and I'm super biased because it's my space, obviously. But there's not many places in Wilmington. There's a few others, but not many where you get an aerial view, right? It's such a flat city. So it's cool. We're a membership bar, so it's cool. Members often have guests in town where they can, show off their city from, a different perspective, right? So each expansion really came out of necessity. We were getting to the point where capacity was an issue. I never want to have to turn away members, of course, that are paying to be here. One of the perks of being a member is you can reserve a room for free. So we have a lot of birthday parties and, anniversary parties. We've had quite a few divorce parties and things like that in the smaller rooms. And then we're also an event space, so you can reserve the whole bar. We do a lot of daytime events on Saturdays and Sundays, outside of normal hours. So we have a lot of, bridal showers and baby showers and things like that. So, yeah.
Nice. Well, and it's the nice thing is because somebody's birthday is coming up soon. So
and someone's a new member. So
we're gonna have to get a room here.
Boy, do I know a spot.
Yeah. Well, we've come. It's the year of parties above the 5th floor. So his wife, we did a party just down the street. Gorgeous views, but it's summertime and it was real hot.
Yeah.
And the elevator didn't work.
Oh, yeah.
And I've also never been in this building, so I think it'll be cool to try and do something for his birthday.
Nice. Yeah, it's a really cool building. There's a lot of history here. My grandmother, so I grew up in a small town in Columbus County, and she's told me that she would take the train into town, and her dentist was in this building.
Oh, wow.
How cool is that, right?
That's pretty neat.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out where this train was.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I didn't know there was a train.
Good question. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
that was, 60 years ago.
Yeah.
No, more than that, 80 years ago.
Oh, wow.
True.
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy too because most of the people here are like, oh yeah, I-40 didn't get finished until the 90s.
Yeah.
Wilmington was really separated on a true highway. You had to do a 2-lane all the way up and down if you wanted to get somewhere. So it's more recent that we have a 2-hour drive to Raleigh versus a 3.
Yeah. I joke with one of my friends that live in Raleigh. She lives right off 40. I'm like, oh, yeah, we live right down the road from each other.
Pretty much.
Because I live right off 42 in, like, Midtown, though.
Okay,
Yeah.
So do you like Midtown?
I do. I love my home. I've been there like 4.5 years now. I love it. It's a more of a starter home, looking to upgrade in the next year or so. But yeah, I like it. I'd rather be closer to downtown though. I do love downtown. Yeah.
I'm like, in reality, you could just rent out a spot like one building over.
That would be nice, and I've actually thought about it. The condo's right behind us, River Place.
Yep.
But I'm a bit of a workaholic already.
Yeah, don't need to be any closer.
You know, the separation from work is nice. I feel like I basically live here. I say I live at the bar and I visit my house. I really would get carried away.
Understandable.
If I was so close.
I do enjoy my like 20-minute commute because it's far enough away where like you can separate the work from going home and resting.
Yeah, and unwind on the drive.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that.
I would say you're right down the road.
I mean, we argued. So like technically from my house, we are 18 minutes from Mayfair and 18 minutes to the Point. So I'm like, can't really go wrong either way.
Yeah.
Could I have a bigger yard? Sure.
Yeah.
But.
All right, so I want to get back into the wine real quick.
Sure. I love talking about wine.
So how you're on your bourbon and whiskey journey. I've tried getting into wine like twice, so not much. And every time I start getting into that, I get into something else. So I always tell people different ways to get into whiskey and how to get into it first. So for someone wanting to experience wine in a better light, how should I start looking at wine?
So for most people, the problem that they have with wine is that when they start out, they're trying to drink a big, bold cab, and it's just too much, it's too big, it's too bold, way too dry for their current palate, right? So easing your way into it. Do we like cabs?
No.
Oh, okay.
Chris is making innuendos.
No worries. So starting with things that you know you like and progressively getting drier. So like the normal pattern would kind of be like starting with whites. So like something like on the sweeter end, like a Pinot Grigio or a Riesling, and then working your way like Sauvignon Blanc, maybe Chenin Blanc, and then getting into like the bigger stuff like, like you don't want to start, if you're looking at whites, like with the oaky, buttery Chardonnay, right? So that's something you kind of want to work your way into. Right. And then same with reds too. Starting with like red blends is a great idea. Something that's, just lighter bodied, maybe a Gamay or something like that before you step up to the big, bold, cabs and things like that.
See, and that's something that people don't tell me.
Right.
Like, they're like, oh, you want a red? And I'm like, okay. Yeah, I understand that there's multiple types of reds and it rests and it has different textures and flavors. But yeah, everyone only knows Cab. What other reds are there?
So Cabernet Sauvignon is the most popular grape in the world. So it's like the most well-known, right? But there's so many varietals out there. So like Merlot, Sangiovese. So I could go on and on, but there's millions out there. And then there's hybrids of everything. So like a lot of people don't know, like Cabernet Franc is like the parent of Cabernet Sauvignon. So, like, it's all genetics, right? So, a lot of people don't know that Cabernet Franc and Sauvignon Blanc had a baby, and that's Cabernet Sauvignon, which is the most popular varietal in the world.
Huh. Learned something new today.
So, how much more did you know versus how much more did you learn when you went to Italy?
Honestly, I really didn't learn that much. I feel like
there's more play than learn.
Everything, I already basically knew everything that I heard there. Right. And a lot of the vineyards that I went to, for the most part, it was like them sitting down with me to taste their wines, and they know I own a wine bar, and they're like, they're rolling out the red carpet trying to sell their wine, right? Yeah, true, and they know I know a little bit about wine, and so they don't do the whole, horse and pony show.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I had some really great wines out there for sure.
So as a non-wine drinker, as you can tell, both of us are not wine people. My wife has gotten into it. It's unfortunate. Or I went from being able to be like, oh, let me go get you a $9 bottle of wine, and now it's like, oh, yeah, we're at like 30.
Yeah.
And that's like that's her average, and now we're stepping up.
Yeah, well, you just wait.
We're part of. I mean,
just wait, because it's an expensive hobby.
Yeah, and that's. So
you're just getting back at Chris for the wine or the whiskey bottles.
But when you went to taste these wines in general, and you kind of had an idea of what you liked, and we talked, like, you always change your mind as to, like, what you like. What do you like this month? Like, what's your favorite?
Yeah, so I always call, like, whatever my flavor of the month is my current obsession. So my favorite wines change on a regular basis. I just got back from Italy, so Sangiovese is like the grape of Italy. So it's definitely what I'm currently obsessed with. Yeah, so a nice Sangiovese like cab blend is something this is actually what we're getting ready to have. Oh, nice. I think this one is 80% Sangiovese, 10% Cab Sav, 10% Cab Franc, if I remember correctly. I'm so sorry, Bronchi, if I mess that up.
It is okay.
Yeah.
Since we are talking about it, if you want to
Sure.
start going into that.
Do you like wine today?
Today.
So you hit up multiple wine places. How did they tell you to like enjoy it properly, I guess?
So correct me if I'm wrong, because again, I'm not a huge whiskey connoisseur, but I think it's like similar. So swirl, sniff, take a look at the color, take a look at the legs, and then whenever you put it in your mouth, you want to swish it completely around your palate, which is very similar to what you would recommend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 That's a nice body. Isn't that what you're supposed to say?
The way that you said it too.
So the body, it's hilarious that you said it before you tried it,
right.
because the body is the weight of it on your tongue.
So wait, what is the color like when we look at it? Like, see, this is how you know.
But you're doing
we're
great.
Like
so that's the thing.
Semi-educated.
I'm not a sommelier. I'm not a wine expert. I love teaching people like how to better enjoy wine, and I hate because wine can be such a snobby thing when people are like, oh no, you're not doing it right. I just got to giggle from it. But also it's like, it's your wine, and if you want to put an ice cube in it, a lot of people would cringe at that, but I'm like, it's your wine. Enjoy it how you want to, Would
you be mad if someone put Coke in it though?
I will hand them a glass of Coke. I am not personally going to do the mixing for them, but again, it's their wine. Do whatever the hell you want to with it, right?
It's kind of what we say about whiskey too. Like, there's some like purists out there like, oh no, you can't taint it with ice, even though it does open up some of the flavors inside of it too.
So before I poured this, we had the conversation. I was like, you want it neat, right?
So
I was surprised.
I've gotten to a point in my life where I know what I can handle.
Yeah.
And typically anything over 118 is really spicy. And if we're trying other drinks, I don't want to like blow up my palate. Smart. But typically if I'm at the bar or at the house drinking something new, I'm going to try it neat and then add an ice cube to see like the different flavors of it. And kind of see the different things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually what you'll see me do like at a restaurant or something is I'll get it neat. Like if I'm sitting at the bar, I'll watch them put the ice in it and then hand it to me. And if I'm trying something new, I'll sip it real quick before it has a chance to like get completely
super
diluted. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, this was nice. I feel like it got a little more spicy as I sipped it.
It's okay.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Right. You have to start somewhere, and starting at a 120, 18 year is pretty daunting.
I was trying with Emily is like every time we go to the bar, I'm like, you want to try it? And she'll smell it and be like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got her on a Macallan 25 once, and that was because it was on special. Yeah.
Nice. My partner got a pour of like Boss Hog, something nice pour, and I was like, this was like maybe 8 months ago. I was like, let me try it. And I was like, I hate everything about that. That burned on the way down, and that is that price point. Like, I just can't imagine. It felt mean to my throat.
Because I probably got that big,
why would
too.
I pay to do that to myself, you know? That's,
yeah, true.
but also, I do understand that it's like a acquired taste, just like wine. Whenever I started drinking wine, it was in college. My roommate and I would buy $2.50 bottles of oak leaf,
Yep.
you know, Grigio. And so it's like that's what started getting me into wine. And now I'm, you know, I would rather be sober.
See, you're better than me. I got into wine in college, but I went to ECU. So our
slap in the bag.
Yes. Yeah. we had both. Well, one, we would slap the bag, and two, we would do ice tray races. So you would just fill each little ice cube up with wine, and then the goal was to be the first person to finish your side of the ice tray. So, like, I didn't know any flavors.
Like through a straw?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, not like just heads up.
Okay.
Yeah, it was interesting to say the least. But, yeah, that's why, like, when I ask people, like, wine questions, I'm like, this is where I started. So,
okay. So ECU, where'd you go to college, or did you?
Yeah, I went to UNCW.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Right on. Nice.
So-
What did you guys study?
I went for operations, and then I went back and got my master's in finance.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Nice.
wait, did you go to college?
I did.
You did better than me. I went to ECU for German studies.
Really?
Yes, which is why I only lasted a semester.
Nice. Well, that and the ice racing.
Right.
Ice cube racing. Is that what you call it?
Yeah, I don't. That was a.
Can't tell you like a German, but he'll tell you all about those ice cube races.
I know. I could tell if someone's speaking German or Russian or different languages.
It's a good start.
Across Europe. I can get you there, but I couldn't tell you what they're saying. Yeah. So wait, where'd you go to school?
So I went to a small state school, UNCP.
Okay.
It's, well, yeah. So I applied several places and got in several. I was actually going to UNCW. Like, I'd paid my deposit, and I grew up not far from here, so I always loved Wilmington and wanted to eventually settle down here. So I got into UNCW, and I was like, that's where I'm going. And then I got all my FAFSA stuff back, and I'd gotten several scholarships to UNCP. And I was like, they're going to pay me to go there.
Exactly, yeah.
And UNCW, I would come out with a bunch of debt, and it was so much more expensive. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, UNCP, like...
It's a great school.
I don't know your age, but I'm saying my current age, I know people where UNCP is, like, definitely leveled up. And it's like, oh, this is I don't know why people...
I have a bunch of wrestlers
down about it. Yeah.
Nice, yeah.
Wrestlers.
I mean, it's a great school. I really enjoyed it. In hindsight, I never used my degrees, but I had such a great time, and I feel like I met like a lot of my like best friends there. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Degrees, like multiple.
Yeah.
What you got?
So I double majored in psychology and criminal justice with a minor in sociology and a concentration in substance abuse.
Well, you work at a bar, so all of that makes sense now.
It does. So I did all of that to get into law school. I did all that. I did it in 4 years, got into law school, and then I was like, holy shit, I don't think I want to be an attorney. I feel like it was like I said I wanted to be an attorney when I was little, and like my family like really wanted me to be one, so I like worked my ass off to get there, and then I was like, I don't think this is what I really want to do for myself.
Yeah.
So
That's really
found out early though, which is the most important part.
yeah. I took the LSAT and everything. I got into a couple law schools. And then again, same thing. I was like, this is going to be so expensive. I'm going to come out like at least $100,000 in debt to have a career that I fucking hate. But then I got in the car business, but I was making 6 figures a year and still fucking hated it.
Right.
So now,
Cassie, a really fast question.
Go ahead.
A wine question.
send it.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people, when they get a glass like this, they hold it like that. You're not supposed to, right?
Correct. So you want to hold it by the stem or by the base. because you don't want to heat up the wine too much.
That's
yeah,
right. Okay.
so to keep the temperature where you want it. Actually, I do a tasting here. So I have several friends that are sommeliers that, one in particular, shout out another small business. The Wine Gal, my friend Amanda, she's a somm. She's really great. She's done a lot of tastings here for me. And so when I have a lot of people that will request, lead tastings and teach them a little bit about wine. So I have the option, do you want a sommelier to come in? Or do you want me to lead it? And I just do, these are basics. I know a little bit about wine, but I'm not an expert. And those are the kind of things that I teach people is to swirl and sniff and to grab it by the the stem or the base instead of the bulb. Yeah.
Nice. So yeah, we'll have to link up. I'm always thinking of new ideas and ways to get people in the community involved. I work at Reed, so everyone wants jewelry.
Yeah.
And that leads me to my next thought. You like to be involved with the community also, right?
Yes. So I am pretty heavily integrated with the community. Whenever I opened Why Not, I had service industry experience. It had been years since I'd worked in the service industry. But I reached out to several businesses downtown that didn't want anything to do with me. It was I was starting a new spot. There was competition, and there was no one wanted to collaborate, that kind of thing. So I've started this women-owned business support initiative. So I do a monthly event. It's called Sip and Shop. It's a bar and boutique crawl. So it's all women-owned businesses. So you get a ticket, and it starts here typically where you get a drink. My friend Carrie that owns the Vine, which is another fabulous spot, she's always on board. So you get a drink there. And then sometimes we include another woman-owned bar, but not always. But there's always at least 5 or 6 women-owned boutiques downtown that will set up a wine station inside their stores and offer discounts on, all of their merchandise. So we normally have 50 to 60 women that, it's just driving traffic to everyone's business. It's a really cool thing. I've collaborated with a lot of local businesses in town.
I like this concept and idea a lot better than the classic bar crawl.
Yeah.
When you have 100 to 200 people that are just wasted off of random margaritas or 4th of July mixes.
Yeah.
So I like what you're doing.
Oh, sorry.
Wait, I got you.
Oh, sorry. I'm going to kick you.
That one likes to get lazy every once in a while. Awesome. Perfect.
Better?
Yep.
Sweet. Cool.
The joys of on location.
Oh,
We're
absolutely.
always fixing little things.
So what do you guys think about this wine?
I actually
It's
liked it.
Yeah, it's actually really good. I was going to say, this is very approachable, but I'm sure for the price of it, it should be, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not crazy, but it's a nice wine. So I was worried that it would have bottle shock. So bottle shock is when you have a wine that has been transported. So whether it's, flight or train or car or whatever, whenever it shakes too much, it over-oxidizes the wine, and then sometimes it can take a while to get back to its normal taste. It actually alters the flavor. But this tastes just like it did on the vineyard.
Oh, nice.
Chris decided to froth one of our whiskeys before. It was not a good idea.
Yeah, it wasn't. The whiskey was very young in the first place, so when you frothed it, you took out any added
flavor that was actually there. It was just,
Gotcha.
plain fuel at that point.
That's
I learned my lesson.
funny. So that's one thing that you can actually do with wine. If you have a frother at home for your coffee, don't froth the shit out of it.
Right.
But just a little bit, it really helps. So this wine, I should have put it in a decanter and let it open up a little more. But yeah, you can do that with wine. It's a hack. Just don't do it too much.
Right.
And over aerate it.
I saw that on TikTok. There's a lot of things I've learned
TikTok
there.
life hacks.
Yeah,
man.
get you going.
So 2 questions.
Mm-hmm.
One's going to be about wine. One's about you. The wine question, do you use fancy different wine glasses? Do you suggest different things for different wines?
Yes. So what we are drinking out of currently, this is a universal glass. So red wine glasses are typically broader at the base and come up a little bit more. there's multiple reasons. So red wines, you typically want to swirl more. It gives you the ability to aerate it. And then the smaller part at the mouth, like it concentrates where you can put your nose in and get more of the aroma. But there are different glasses for different reasons. So like a champagne flute is to keep it small so the carbonation doesn't all, get out. My personal opinion, champagne flutes are stupid because you can't swirl and swish the way a true wine lover likes it.
See, we had a friend years ago, and he didn't have champagne like the classic flutes. We showed up to his house, and he had the fancy, like, wide body, like, kind of short. And I was like, what is this for? He's like, well, this way it aerates properly. You can smell it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that actually makes sense.
Yeah. So if I drink a sparkling wine, I will drink it out of, a regular wine glass. Yeah. Hot take. I am a wine lover, and I don't love champagne. I love Cava, I love Prosecco, but I don't love, like, the yeastiness of champagne.
So what is the difference between Prosecco and champagne?
Where it's made, Prosecco is typically going to be like lighter and crisper and not have that like yeastiness to it. So it's in European countries, like their wine laws are crazy. Like, so for example, in Italy, there's the DOCG is like this body that governs how wine is made. Wow. And if you have your DOCG like on the label, then their laws are so strict, like you literally cannot even use irrigation. Like you can't water the grapes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But this is an ITG, which is like, it can be from the exact same area. So this is the Chianti Classico region, but they can't put Chianti Classico and put like the DOCG and the rooster on the label. That's like how you know it's Chianti Classico. But they can water it and they can blend it. And the wine laws are crazy. But with champagne and Prosecco specifically, it's where it's made, and they have to follow those laws.
So are you at the point where you can, I'm going to butcher this term, but is it Terra Noir where like the actual grapes are from?
So, I mean, my palate is like distinguished enough where I can tell you like the notes on it. Like if something is like grown in a super like mineral rich, like rocky area, like I can taste the minerality in it.
Oh, wow.
But I don't know if you've seen like online where it's like a som can taste this and they're like, oh my God, this is this grape from this region this year. No, definitely not. But I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off.
Oh no, I just laughed because I'm like, I've seen those videos and I'm like, really?
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Like
how many wines you need to taste to get to that point? That's the other thing too.
Yeah. A lot.
Gus has the nose. If you know, you know. So you named the bar Why Not, which I like the title.
Thank
Why
you.
Not? Two questions on that one. One, what's a wine knot? Because I've seen your. Yeah. I'm like, well, maybe it is a real thing. Maybe it just goes with the flow. So what's that?
So it's really a pun more than anything, right? So I'll tell you how I came up with the name, and I thought I was so fucking clever. So I told you I previously had a partner originally, and so I found the space, came up with the concept and the idea. And I was kind of going back and forth on it, like, do we want to do this? It's a big risk. It's going to take a lot of money to start up, obviously. And then I kind of fell in love with the idea. And I was like, if I don't try this and at least go for it, I feel like I will regret this for the rest of my life. And then I was like, we're having this conversation going back and forth. And I was like, you know what? Why not? Why not? And, you know, my previous partner was like, yeah, why not? Let's just do it. And I was like, no, why not has to be the name. And then I fell in love with that. And I was like, let's go for it. I gotta at least give it a try.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And it plays into like the speakeasy vibes. Because like every speakeasy I've ever seen has like some name that's kind of like interesting and intriguing. Right. So I like it.
And, you know, like I mentioned, we have a lot of events here. Originally, you know, I was like, do I just make it like an event space where we have like bridal showers and that kind of thing, bachelorette parties? And we still have a lot of like wedding events here. So like tying the knot kind of plays into it too. Okay. But yeah.
So more of a business question. When you first started it, were you thinking membership to get it started, or did you want it to just be open, or did you kind of like that exclusivity part?
So when I opened in 2021, legally it had to be a private bar.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't sell. I think it was like it had to be 25% or more in food sales. So legally I had to be a private bar. In 2022, the legislation changed and they did away with that law. Right. So then I had the choice. But by that point, I decided that, well, whenever I created the space originally, I wanted a space where, like, someone, at the time, I was 30 whenever I opened, and I was kind of, like, over the college bar scene and the loud music, and I wanted to, like, create a space where you could, like, sit down and have a conversation, right? And enjoy a nice glass of wine and the views, etc. So whenever the legislation changed, I had already had, of course, so many members at that point that had paid the membership fee.
Right.
And I really love having the exclusivity. It weeds out the riffraff and the college kids, thank God. But also, it's really important to me that, and a friend of mine recently told me that the space is very exclusive but inclusive. And I love that. So that was another goal, was to create a safe space. One, of course, as a woman, where you can come to a bar by yourself and sit down and have a drink and be comfortable. So a safe space for women, and then also the queer community supports me really, really heavily. So you may have noticed like the sign at the front door says like all are welcome here. There's a pride flag. So just like creating, a safe space that is exclusive but inclusive.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it. I will say, I was going to say, I love the sign.
Thank you.
I also love the views. I had to put it out there. Like, you got some of the best views in town.
They never get
That
old.
far, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've been here for 13, 14 years, not quite as long as Chris, but getting there. I know, it never happens, but I can say it. But yeah, same thing. Just looking out over the riverway is just amazing. And the battleship out there, it's a great spot.
Yeah. Thank you. That means a lot. Yeah, the petitions to preserve the space across the river, I'm very happy that, green space was saved.
Same, yeah.
Yeah.
Please, if it ever comes up, we do not need more apartments across the river.
No.
Because one, that's going to cost us money, and two, that is just a swamp.
I was going to say, it's not even going to work out anyway.
Yeah.
Like, every time it rains, I look over and I'm like, oh yeah, the whole battleship parking lot is a pond.
Yeah.
Cool concept, but please don't do that.
Yeah. And it's so beautiful. And then like Eagle Island, there's like so much history there too. Like, that's a burial ground, So.
Actually, the last time Chris wasn't with us, unfortunately, but when we had another private bar on the podcast, when I was up in their spot, we were talking about like preservation of Wilmington in general. And the reason why people move to Wilmington is because of the beauty that's out here, and that it's not too overcrowded yet. But adding that over, they would just completely destroy why probably 90% of the people moved here.
Yeah.
You're just getting rid of everything that everyone loved.
Yeah. I love Jesse, by the way. Jesse's a friend, so there's no competition there at all.
Awesome. Yeah.
That's not one of the people that I was referring to.
No, I didn't think so.
Yeah.
I didn't think so.
But yeah, love his spot as well. Yeah.
I just laugh because I'm like, every bar that I go to that's above the 5th floor is very inclusive. Mm-hmm. Like, I used to go to level 5 all the time, and I'm like, it doesn't feel. I'm happy it's not level 5 anymore. I don't know the name of it any longer, but like, it definitely didn't give the inclusivity vibe. Yeah. And I do like that both you and Jesse's spot are both, yes, they're membership spots, but they also have very different vibes.
Yeah.
Very, like, you can come in and have a good time.
Yeah. And that's definitely what I have always, from the beginning, have always gone for. We don't enforce a dress code or anything like that. It's very much like come as you are. I often get the question from people. It's like, I don't have a membership, but I don't want to pay for it before, I see the spot. Like, we welcome everyone to come check out and try before you buy. So like, come up, have a drink. We let you see the space before, you pay the $1.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I love that.
I also like that it's on the opposite side too, since we did bring up Jesse's place too. Because no matter where you're at, the way that he put it kind of describes it best, and I love that this is down here too, is after you've hit up the few couple places where it's not exclusive, it's nice to get away for a little bit. It's like, okay, I've had the fun and the hustle and bustle. Let me get a drink, unwind somewhere where I know it's not going to be completely packed out, where I can trust the people up there and be a little bit more myself, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That, or also we have a lot of people that will come enjoy the sunset and have a nice like pre-dinner drink, and then, you know, after dinner come have a nightcap. Right. You know, before they go home or before they go out to those wild bars to dance and do all of that fun stuff, right? But yeah, it's just our hours, we don't stay open super late, so 10 o'clock on Wednesdays, Thursdays, 11 on Saturdays, or Fridays and Saturdays, and then 9 on Sundays. So it's you know, just it's a chiller vibe than most spots downtown.
Right.
Well, it's great too because like this building is very historic, but they have new restaurants built behind you. So like if you go to Mellow Mushroom, you go to Ruth's Chris, you can pay for a really nice dinner and then come up here and not have to pay the Ruth's Chris price for a drink and just enjoy the sunset, enjoy the vibe. It does make sense as to why, like, I've seen a lot of videos of you guys in Ruth's Chris. I didn't realize, like, you were this close.
I didn't either. I didn't realize it was like...
we're right behind it. I love downtown. I do. It's like there's always something fun going on, but it has, you know, so much character, and it just feels homey, you know?
I heard through the grapevine that there may be something else coming in the future.
Yes. So I do have a second location currently in the works. So stay tuned. We have a spot for it and a name for it, but that's about all the information that I can give. No big
spoilers right now.
Yeah, no very specific details.
What that means is anyone listening has to go, and if you're not following, why not yet on Instagram and all the socials, you need to go do that to make sure you find out.
Absolutely, 100%.
Is it going to be another Sky Bar, or is it going to be like...
No, not another Sky Bar.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Understandable.
You know, there's just not many spaces downtown
for
that.
No, I'm sitting up here right now, and you're just like seeing over every building.
I'm open one in the old PCD building.
Right.
Yeah. I'm so surprised I didn't put a bar in that building.
I don't think Sapphire was going to give up his office up there.
It's so funny. I was listening to Pete's episode from your podcast, and you guys were talking about that in the last one, and none of you like knew that I was here at that time, I think. And it's you're talking about how it would be so genius to put a bar in an office building.
So you took her. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Our podcast is
after.
I was going to say our bar has definitely been here.
Yeah.
The bar has been here longer than our podcast has been around.
Right.
Yes.
When did you start the podcast again?
We're coming on 3 years.
2022.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, we
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
We do need to have an anniversary party.
We do.
Oh,
we
I know a spot?
We skipped our 1 year, and we had a 1.5 year party.
Nice.
Right.
And then we haven't had a 2 year, and we're coming up on 3. So we should probably plan that.
Yeah, we should start getting on that.
Yeah.
There you go.
I know who to contact now.
Yes. So I always have some silly off the wall question for everybody.
Shoot.
And so mine for you is, what is the favorite cocktail you have on your menu? Because I know you're not like the cocktail person. You have a cocktail.
So I am definitely more of a wine person, but I do love cocktails, specifically gin and tequila. Yep.
Not together.
Not together. No, I'm not a maniac. No, I'm just kidding. My favorite cocktail on the current menu we call it a Subtle Keys. It is a spin on a French 75. So it's a gin cocktail, but it's like a key lime pie French 75.
My two favorite things together.
Yeah, it's a nice frothy egg white cocktail, and it's like key lime pie in your mouth, and we grate fresh nutmeg on top, and it's nice. So we are finishing up the summer cocktail menu and getting ready to roll out the fall cocktail menu. So between that, and then also we are known for our espresso martinis. So I love a good espresso martini too.
So that leads me to another question. Well, 2. What kind of gin do you use?
In our specialty cocktails, Sutler's Gin. Okay. Sutler's is awesome. They're, if you're not familiar with them, North Carolina company out of Winston-Salem. And then their local rep is a friend, so we love to support them. Yeah.
You don't have Hidden Ships gin? Come on now.
We don't carry them. Should we? Yeah.
You should at least go check them out.
Yeah.
I will say it's very floral.
Yeah.
It's different. I don't think you'd be able to put it into like a cocktail like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a cocktail you could make with it, but it wouldn't be like a key lime pie one.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Very different.
Yeah.
I just asked.
Nice.
We also had them on the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
See?
I'll have to check them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're up
I'd love to.
in Topsail, Surf City, something like that.
Right on.
So you go north instead of up to find them.
Nice.
So my other question for you, because you're known for your espresso martinis, outside of Sabrina Carpenter and all these like cool songs going on. Do you guys change your espresso martini seasonally, or you just keep it straight?
So we actually currently have 5 espresso martinis on the menu.
Oh, wow.
So we call them the Beans Martinis. So whenever I brought my mixologist in, I told him, I was like, we got to have an espresso martini on the list. They're so trendy and popular right now. And the people would rage if we didn't have one, right?
Probably.
And I love coffee. I'm a coffee lover. But I've prior to going to Italy, I didn't like straight espresso. And I found that most espresso martinis were like a little too bitter for my palate at that time. And I was like, I really love when people use Irish cream in their espresso martinis, and I'd love to give people the option. So we have 2 options. We had 2 options originally. We still have them both, black and creamy. And then we rolled out the beach beans, which has bourbon in it, and our homemade orgeat, which is an almond syrup that's really good. Then we have jumping beans, which has tequila and ginger. That one's really good. Okay. And then just for Bourbon Week, we rolled out the bourbon beans.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, you guys
could
probably
have
really love that one.
You could have a flight of martinis, coffee martinis.
We could do that. I don't know if you know this. Flight cocktails are a bartender's worst nightmare.
I can imagine.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
we could do it. We could do it.
I wasn't a suggestion. I was just saying you could. You had enough to do it.
We do wine flights. They're oddly enough not super popular.
Oh, really?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like flights when there's a huge selection. I want to try a bunch of stuff. As a friend, I say friend, as an acquaintance of a lot of bartenders, I would say I totally understand. Unless you have all of your drinks batched, it'd be ridiculous to try and shake up.
Yeah.
It's
a lot. Oh, I almost forgot. It's not espresso martini. And I said I was never going to put shots on the menu, but then I came up with the name. And if I had come up with a name I love, I gotta use it.
Yes.
I said I was never going to have a shot, but then I thought of the name because we call them the beans, the Beanie Baby.
Oh.
So we have a espresso shot called the Beanie Baby.
Yeah, you kind of have to at that point.
You gotta use that, right?
Yeah.
If you think of it, you gotta use it.
That's how I know we can be friends. We're in the same millennial age bracket.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you ever rip the tags off your Beanie Babies?
That would have been a sin.
I was gonna say
that tie tag. You gotta keep it on. My mom didn't even want me to take them out of the box.
I know. Yeah, mine too.
I was like, no, I'm playing with these. And in hindsight, I'm like, damn, I should have kept them in the box. So some of them are worth some serious money.
Yes. For no reason.
For no reason.
Just random ones. I just randomly had the nostalgia.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's do this. So I don't keep track of time very well today. So, okay. So then I do have a good question for you. Because you got this great bar, you're coming up on 3 years, you're looking for expansion. What does success look like for you, though?
So if you would have asked me this question a year ago, I feel like my answer would have been very different. I feel like success for me now is having more of a work-life balance. I'm not, the smartest person on the planet, but I will outwork everyone hand over fist. Mm-hmm. And coming from, the previous industry that I was in, it was like you had to, especially in sales. Mm-hmm. But getting to the point where I have more of a work-life balance, and I know that seems crazy when I'm talking about opening a second location, but getting things to where I have a team in place and I can live a little more My partner has a child, and so I want to be able to spend more time at home and get home at a decent hour and spend time with her now. So yeah, I mean, I feel like in the, past, especially like 6 months, my goals have really changed a lot. So just having more work-life balance and being able to do the things that bring me joy and spend time with the people that matter.
Just for the people who may not completely connect with that because they are in the grind, what was your success? What would success look like a year ago? Just so people can see the contrast.
I would say it definitely would have been more of like a materialistic answer. Like, like I wanted a nicer car and a nicer home and things like that. My partner, Pete, he asked me whenever we first like started seeing each other, he was like, what's your why? Like, what's your reason why? Because he's like a super motivated person, right? And like I jokingly said, but it was not a joke at all. I was like, I really like seafood towers on a nice terrace. And now it's like,
that's a good one though.
I say, yeah. Well,
who doesn't like a nice seafood tower on a terrace, right? But also it's like being able to do the things that bring me joy and again, spend time. I do want to be able to travel more. So like we just did this like 2-week-long trip and like both came home like so super motivated because it's like, yeah, I want to be able to do stuff like that more. And I want to be able to, in a couple years, like bring the baby. Well, she won't be a baby then, and I eventually like, do want to have a family of my own as well, which so just being able to have more time. Yeah.
I love it. My final question for you then, since we were looking forward with that question, looking back, if you could tell your younger self one thing, what would it be?
I really, and it's still something that I struggle with, but I really used to struggle terribly with anxiety. And I feel like in the past, honestly, if you'd asked me to do this podcast a year ago, I would have told you no. Like, it's something like being in front of a camera was like so uncomfortable to me. Just like dealing with my anxiety is something that I feel like I put like on the back burner for a while. And like wouldn't like just like kind of face head on. Getting into therapy earlier, I'm a big advocate for therapy. And just like putting yourself out there, and people are going to judge you and people are going to think and say whatever they want to think or say, but just getting a better grip on my anxiety earlier and just like going for it, and just don't sell yourself short. And I know that I'm going to work really hard, and if I set my mind to it, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to work my ass off and like won't take no for an answer until I get, reach the level of success that I want. So just like dealing with my anxiety and not being scared to take the chance. Yeah.
That's you. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, because we talked a lot about you and about the bar, and we kind of hinted or mentioned it, where can people like follow for like the events and all the cool stuff and photos?
Yeah. So why not Skybar on everything? Instagram, we are very active on. We work really hard on our social media content. I find a lot of fun with content creation these days. I used to absolutely hate it. And now if you like follow our Instagram, I love involving like a lot of humor and just fun stuff. So please follow us. All of our events are always on social media and our website as well. It's whynotskybar.com. So, yeah.
Very good.
So, yeah, we're at the end of the day. So you tried 2 different drinks. What did you think, Tyler? Flavor-wise?
The wine was actually very approachable. Like I said, I was very impressed with it. So I could definitely see myself drinking this one again, too. Nice. And the Heaven Hill for 120 is very smooth, and it had a lot of flavor to it. So that was very good, too. How about you?
Would you drink it again?
I will have a sip. I mean, I'm not going to go to a bar and order it. But also, I feel like if I continue to go down this, whiskey bourbon journey, I think that we can have this conversation in a year from now and be like, oh my God, that's so good.
Right.
I can do it in like 18 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I've already booked a few people like a year out.
Gotcha. So let me ask you this, because you asked me the question about wine and like getting into it. What recommendations would you have for me on my bourbon journey? Lower proof.
I would say definitely not 120 proof. So there's actually a new bottle that came out by Weller, and it's the create your own barrel pick that they had. So they basically took like a few thousand of their like followers, and they asked them what would make the best whiskey. And they all kind of put in their input. Like it was 95 proof. There was how long it rested in the barrel, like the whole 9 yards. It actually came out really nice. It's very different than what a typical whiskey or bourbon would taste like. It's a little bit sweeter, but I think you would like something there. So it's 95 proof, so it's not going to burn you the whole way down. And it also kind of has like a vanilla caramel flavor to it. So that one's a really good way to kind of get into it, but something that's a little bit less hot and then has a more of a approachable flavor palette. So you probably don't want something that's too like leathery to start out with. And maybe something a little bit kind of, I guess it depends too. If you like something that's drier, maybe you would like the leathery type of flavor a little bit more. But
see, I go super basic. I say under 100 toasted. You should be like, it's a good starter point.
I'll show you our reserve list too. So we have like Weller 12. I think we have Weller 18. We have like Basil Hayden Toast, Basil Hayden Wine Cast, like a couple Eagle Rare options.
the Basil Haydens in general are a good way to start too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like those?
So I have found that my favorite old fashions have Basil Hayden in them. When I'm making recommendations for people that aren't huge whiskey people, that's I always steer them towards Basil Hayden.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go back and forth because with the podcast, we've tried everything from, what is that? Foolproof in bottles. We've tried everything from like $19 bottles to like $200
bottle one time. That was
nasty. True. That please don't ever bring that up. It was so painful.
Oh, really?
It was bad.
It was so bad.
Oh no.
Yeah, but we tried everything,
Okay.
and it's just like with wine. Like you got to try things that you like and kind of move into it. I think I got spoiled because we had Bear Proof like within the first month of us doing this podcast, and I was like, can they all taste like this? But it's also very fruity. It like has huckleberry flavors in it.
Interesting.
Like,
No, you can't get it in North Carolina right now, though. You have to go to Montana.
Yeah, the ABC laws, it's hard. Like the Heaven Hill, like that was a lottery pick, so it's tough.
Yeah.
I saw you open that up. I was like, wait, how'd you get this?
Yeah.
That's
you literally win the lottery.
Right.
And see, that's why we make accounts and we are members at multiple bars. So when someone wins a lottery, we can be like, oh, let's try this.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, there's a lot of great bars in this town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see you in like at least 12 months.
Yeah.
You're going to see you sooner because Chris has already
Well,
set up my birthday party.
his birthday's in like birthday's in like a month and a half.
Definitely hope to see you guys sooner.
Yeah,
I hope to see you all the time here.
I would say, yeah,
you're
you'll
gonna be
see me a
regulars,
lot
I'm
off,
sure.
yeah.
I mean, like on the podcast, like in real
No,
life. I'm going to ask you in like
Yeah.
a month, like, okay, have you tried any new whiskey?
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Right on. I just had some Macallan 18 that wasn't terrible too.
Yeah.
Macallan is one of those where it's like, hey, I'm a Macallan, and you're like, but anything over 18, it's just going to be delicious. It's kind of annoying because I'm like, I don't want to spend that much money.
Yeah.
But it's worth it.
Same with wines though, like the age stuff. Yeah.
Get what you pay for, as they say.
Absolutely.
But yes, thank you guys for listening to the podcast. Thanks for having us up here.
Thank you for having
Yeah,
me.
we
It's
appreciate
been
it.
fun.
We'll have some videos or pictures of this amazing space on our socials. If Tyler hasn't figured out how to add them into the YouTube
I don't know
video,
how to.
we can figure it out.
Okay.
Over the spots where like you walked in front of the camera, like that'd be perfect. I'm like,
Okay,
just
perfect.
clipped.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Also, this is something we should have talked about before. We can do like a promo code for discounts on memberships or something. That's like
Oh, yeah.
promo code. Oh, let's say promo code whiskey.
that
We'll
works.
give.
Yeah.
I'll figure out the discount, but it's going to be a big one.
Sweet. We'll do it.
so check us out. Get a membership. Promo code whiskey at the winenotskybar.com.
Yeah.
So I can use this later on. Make sure you listen to the full podcast so you can get a special promo discount to the Wine Not Sky Bar.
Thank you, everyone, for everything. As per usual, like, comment, share, subscribe, Follow Why Not Sky Bar. Follow all of us. And we'll catch you in the next one.
Cheers.
Peace.
Cheers.
That one.